Hello, Modern here. In today's video I want to show you an incredible Druid build for Diablo 4. It is relatively simple but also immensely satisfying to play at the same time. We have fast movement speed, smooth enemy targeting, which also works for a controller, great survivability for a melee build, great single target damage, which is amazing for bossing, and top tier audiovisual feedback due to the Earthspike thunder sound. Speaking of which, this build is based on utilizing the Crone staff in combination with the Nature's Fury keystone to unleash an immense amount of basic attacks. It looks and plays phenomenal. However, keep in mind, we are a druid. We are a little bit on the weaker side compared to other classes, so please mind the level of pit I'm currently showing you. Now, first let's have a look at regular enemies. You absolutely breeze through maps with nearly capped movement speed as well as smooth and fast animations, making it possible to drive by hit enemies as you approach perfect laminar flow. You also instantly apply a ton of CC to enemies, rendering them nearly useless in just a few moments. Elite enemies are also taken care of with Petrify and constant Earthen Bulwark spam to protect your health bar from harm. But you are a melee character, which makes you susceptible to taking damage. This is taken care of with Blood Howl, our healing tool of choice, combined with a ton of healing potions. We further bolster our defenses with Cyclone Armor to push enemies away and Debilitating Roar to decrease the damage enemies deal, all of which also fortifies us for another damage reduction buff. Next up are bosses. They are easily staggered and dealt with. However, do not expect to reach barbarian level damage. As I already mentioned, we are a druid. We take our time. But we are also quite tanky and ignore most boss mechanics. This makes for quite an enjoyable playstyle of running through mobs to kill them until we run head first into bosses to claw them to pieces. Now, to further optimize the runs, I highly recommend you the Holy Bolt Elixir, giving us much needed AoE to make clearing faster. Our boss DPS is a lot better than our AoE clear. Holy Bolt will just save us a ton of time, especially when facing spiders which come in swarms of hundreds. Now, if you like what I do and want to support me, make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you have not already. I cover all sorts of RPG games, be it strategy, CRPG on this channel in form of extensive guides. So thank you very much for supporting me, and let's have a look at our gear and aspects. We're going to start with the Harlequin Crest. You can get this one this season quite easily with Resplendent Sparks, and it provides you with 4 ranks to all skills. This will save us a ton of skill points and will boost our survivability, will boost our heal, will boost our damage and even our mobility. So this one is the best in slot helmet and nothing tops it. For masterworking, try to hit cooldown reduction and maximum life. Resource generation is generally useless on this build and the all stats are quite weak but help a little bit. For the chest, we want the chest with willpower, maximum life, armor and total armor. A high total armor percentage roll will get you to armor cap much faster and much easier, but with a low roll you will struggle a little bit. I am not armor cap even with a Masterwork 9 chest, but it's fine given we have a lot of DR. For the aspect we're going to use the aspect of might for 20% damage reduction. For the greater affix you want to get maximum life and willpower, and try to hit the willpower or maximum life with your masterworks. For the second temper, make sure to get the lucky hit chance to stun or immobilize targets. I seriously need to reroll this chest because it's garbage, but I'm mostly solo self-found, so I haven't found a good one. Next we have our gloves. We want willpower, attack speed and crit strike chance. We want to temper damage to close enemies on this one. A high roll is very important. This one is a more multiply, it double dips because of Thunderstruck, and it also works on our Earthspike because we are only going to cast Earthspike through Nature's Fury, which translates to it getting the Storm tag. With the Storm tag, it is benefiting from Thunderstruck. Our second temper should be Immobilize, Stun or Freeze. You really want to have at least 1 Immobilize and 1 Stun chance on your hits to apply CC through all your abilities. For the aspects, we want Natural Balance for more damage for our Earthspike, as well as Crit Strike chance for our Claw, as well as Stormstrike. For our pants, we want plus to basic skills, not Earthspikes, because we use Claw, we use Stormstrike, we use our Earthspike, all of which benefits from ranks to basic skills. This is very, very important. As you can see, the temper on this one is dot chance. This is ideally the best temper you can get on this one. It gives you a chance to reduce the damage by 100% because you're dodging. It is nice to have, and as well here, lucky hit chance to stun enemies. For the secondary stats, we want willpower and maximum life to boost our defenses and offenses. We want to hit the greater affix on the basic skills and later on the life. We want to have as much life as possible to make this build tanky because we are in melee range. We cannot dodge everything, so we need to take a hit. For the aspect, we want the vigorous aspect. This will provide us with 50% damage reduction while we shapeshifted into a werewolf. We are constantly in werewolf form because of claw. In between, we are going to spam Earthen Bulwark, which translates to just like 2 frames of not being a werewolf. Otherwise, we are constantly a werewolf. For the boots, we want willpower, maximum life, movement speed, chance to stun, and the unspeakable gate. This will provide us with a ton of movement speed in combination with a second temper we will get on our amulet. So we have plus 10 to gate, which on this build gets us 44% movement speed. Combined with 21% on our boots, we get around 60 to 70%, which is great. It is really, really good. With further tempers, we can get gate even higher, basically maxing out our movement speed. For the aspect, we want symbiotic because we are spamming Claw, which is a storm skill, as well as Stormstrike. We're going to reset the cooldown on our Earthen Bulwark constantly. We can further use Earthen Bulwark to then reset the Cyclone Armor cooldown, which now is always available to knock enemies away from us. Why is this beneficial? Because enemies swarm us, and if enemies swarm us, we cannot really target them. So you need to press this button. If you're stuck, then you can run out and hit the priority targets. Next, we have the Staff of the Crone. This staff provides us with damage to close, as well as ranks to claw, and the ability to also cast Stormstrike along with claw. Basically 100% chance to double cast. Stormstrike cannot be tempered to double cast, so this is the only way to benefit from this. However, there is a problem with the staff. It is currently bugged. The 150 normal damage to Stormstrike does not apply. Usually you would get a 0.5 multiplier, so a 1.5 multiplier on Stormstrike, basically raising the damage of Stormstrike to be equal to claw. This is not the case, which makes this one basically inferior. So we are putting our points into claw. Once they fix it, we will switch to Stormstrike as our main ability that's going to deal damage because it deals a little bit of AoE damage. It is still a great staff and outperforms a regular staff with nothing to double cast. Then we have the amulet. I currently am running attack speed, crit strike chance and maximum life. You want to have envenom on this one, get damage to close and digitate gate. For the aspect, we want Moonrise. You want to hit a greater affix on Envenom and attack speed ideally. Make sure to hit all tempers on Envenom to boost the damage even further. It's a more multiplier, so that's the best thing you can do. Then we have a ring. This one is basically identical to the second one I want to show you, but I have a really bad one in my second slot. As mentioned, I am solo self-found. Ideally, you want to have a greater affix on willpower and attack speed, and then all masterworks on damage to close. There is no good temper for the Druid as the second slot, so we are stuck with anything you can find. For the aspect, we go with Earth Spike. We never cast Earth Spike, but this one is giving us now a line nuke, so it's dealing a ton of damage in a line, and it also gets a separate more multiplier. And second ring should ideally look like this one, exactly the same stats, but with the adaptability aspect. Now I want to show you proof for this one. So Stormstrike I have on my Q and Claw on my right mouse button. We're going to strike enemies with our Q, so Stormstrike, and the top end damage should be around 300, 350, 325, and so on and so forth. There is a 400. Now, once we strike enemies with our Claw, we will see a ton of additional numbers, mostly in the range of 900k, maybe at 800k, there's 1 million hit, and you will also see numbers around the range of Stormstrike. This is because those numbers are Stormstrike, so Stormstrike is not affected by Crone. We can further prove this one very easily by taking points out of Claw and putting them into Stormstrike. Once we attack enemies, now with our Claw, we should never see 1 million damage anymore. You will also see there is now 500k hits, which indicate that our Claw damage decreased substantially. Next, let's have a look at our Spirit Boons. We are picking Wariness in the Deer cluster. In the Eagle cluster, we pick attack speed as well as crit strike damage. So this one is a more multiplier. In the pack, we pick up Bolster to get Fortify easily with all our spells. So this one, as well as Debilitating Roar, which we acquire through Harlequin Crest. And lastly, we are going to pick up Masochistic because we have a high lucky hit chance with our spells, and this one will heal us for a quite large amount of health maximum health at that once we hit enemies with our shapeshifting skills. So Claw is going to heal us quite a lot. Next, a quick look at a skill tree. We're going to pick up Earth Spike with the right path, Stormstrike with the left path, Claw with the left path. This gives us a double cast chance on Earth Spikes. This gives us vulnerability on Stormstrike, and we get Wild Claws, which has a double attack chance. Sometimes you will see our werewolf hitting an enemy with both claws. This will double cast our Stormstrike, which in turn will then use our Earthen Spikes, potentially 4 times. And now, once the target is CC'd, we have another additional Earth Spike proccing. This is a ton of damage. We can get a ton of procs like this. In the next cluster, we pick 1 point in Predatory Instinct and 1 point in Digigate Gate. This will be really bad early on, but later, once you get the gate up to 10, with the tempers or 12 or 15, even this will cap out your movement speed very easily. In the next cluster, we only pick up Earthen Bulwark, we pick up Enhanced Earthen Bulwark and the Native Earthen Bulwark to get the explosion. This will deal quite a substantial amount of damage constantly because we are resetting this one with Nature's Fury and Symbiotic. We pick up Ancestral Fortitude and Vigilance and pick up Bloodhaul as well as the enhancers here for a little bit of additional attack speed. This will reset constantly because we kill enemies constantly. This is our heal, and it is quite good. Now, before you get the crest, take out 1 point here and here to get the Cyclone armor going, as well as debilitating raw. Once you have the crest, take out those points and put them here. In the next cluster, there is nothing to pick because we hate companions. Then we pick up 3 points in Envenom, 3 points in Stoneguard, 3 points in Crushing Earth, and 1 point in Toxic Claws. Toxic Claws will apply poison to enemies before we get our Paragaon board set up to get Constricting Tendrils. Constricting Tendrils now also proc because all of our basic skills have a lucky hit chance on enemies because of this. So Earthen Spike, Stormstrike, as well as Claw, all of which have very high lucky hit chance. In the next cluster, we pick up Petrify, Prime Petrify, and Supreme Petrify. This will result in a ton of additional damage and cooldown reduction for Petrify, which is quite neat. Then we pick up Defiance, Natural Disaster, as Resonance, and Quick Shift. Quick Shift we are constantly proccing through Claw, so you can press Shift and then use a Claw ability and you will get the damage buff. And you can do it again and stack it up like this. In between, sometimes you won't have to do this because you just press Bloodhaul and run to the boss and then start hitting him. In between, you can use your Earthen Bulwark. This will constantly reset and this will stack up the shift. So we have the benefit of 18% more damage here as a more multiplier we will otherwise not be able to gain with a regular staff because it's really tedious to do. And lastly, Nature's Fury. And to finish it up, we are going to look at the Paragaon board. In the first cluster, we pick up Spirit for a more multiplier. We max this one out for additional damage. In the next cluster, we are picking up Thunderstruck because this one procs on our Earthen Spike because we have Nature's Fury. We beeline basically the next glyph, which is Outmatch. Pick this one and then we have to choices to do. First we go right. We pick up Hubris for a ton of damage reduction versus vulnerable enemies. Then we pick up the next board, which is Earthen Devastation. We max this one up naturally just through the board, so don't need to pick up any on our gear. We pick up the glyph Fang and Claw because we are constantly in the werewolf form. We get a more multiplier here and we get a little bit of everything here. But we are mostly just interested in the more multiplier. We can pick up a little bit of damage reduction here and elemental resistances, which have a requirement that is easily matched. Next, we ignore the right side because this is the last board and we go north from the Thunderstruck board. We pick up Constricting Tendrils, so we beeline this node specifically because we want to apply poison on enemies, otherwise we do not benefit from Envenom. And then we pick up Territorial. So this glyph specifically gives you damage reduction against close enemies and damage to close enemies, which will scale your Thunderstruck. If you do not have this node and this glyph, this is around 20% more damage. So always have this one equipped and max this one out as fast as possible. This one is a 21 glyph and is high priority for you. Next we pick up the board here on the left side, which is the Heightened Malice board. We just want to get the glyph here, Earth and Sky, Nature Magic skills, which all of our skills are now, deal 10% more damage versus vulnerable or crowd controlled enemies. We also get damage reduction from poisoned enemies, 4.9 here and here. We can get this one to 21 very easily, which will result in a ton of damage reduction. And lastly, we are going to pick this board, which is the Inner Beast board for the Undaunted glyph for another 10% damage reduction while we are fortified. We also get a little bit of damage here. And we also get maximum life here. We need to pick those nodes, otherwise we are too squishy. We need to get into melee range to deal damage. Now, this sums up the video. If you liked what you saw, make sure to like, comment and subscribe if you have not already. You can also support me some more by joining the channel membership, which will allow me to keep making videos. So thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye.